Hey, great thinkers. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Think Great Experience. I am so fired up for today's session. It has been a long time in the making, but we've been patient to bring it here. And I am joined by Pete Johnson. He is the CEO of Valence Protective Coatings, and he is also an Army veteran. Pete, just wanted to say welcome. Finally, welcome to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Eric. And it's been good. I'm glad we actually waited. We have a lot more to talk about, and the growth has been phenomenal since the first time we chatted.
There is nothing wrong with phenomenal growth, but
There you go.
I gotta address this too. We have a lot of veterans and patriots that listen to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in the Army, what your MOS was, when you served, if you deployed?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout Army. Ended up doing about just under 5 years of active duty, 3 years of reserves. And I actually joined in 2003. And so I had kind of walked into the recruiter during those wartime, so basically when we those 21 days of actual war when we were kind of invading Iraq in 2003. And I kind of just said, hey, I'm looking to join the Army. And that was kind of in May. And then some things kind of got postponed. I ended up going to active duty back in January and spent some time at Fort Irwin, California, cavalry, stuff like that. And then did one deployment to Iraq in 2009 and 10 as a lead convoy escort. So we basically escorted convoys all around the northern half of Iraq. And I was the scout platoon driver. So my job was to look for IEDs and detonate them if needed or call in EOD, which thankfully that's what we did.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Now, your MOS, did you pick that or was that picked for you?
I did. Yeah, absolutely. So I chose to do that. So I'm actually the fourth generation military in my family. My dad served in Vietnam. He was a military police officer, and he passed away when I was 15. So I didn't really get a lot of chance to talk to him about that military experience or anything. And I kind of always just said, if I was going to do something, I'm going to do it 100%. And my recruiter was a scout at the time, and he said, hey, if you like guns, cars, and having crazy times, let's sign up. And I said, that's me.
That wasn't a tough sell.
No, he kind of had me right then. So
I know there's a lot of recruiters listening right now. They're going to borrow that.
There you go. You showed me the cool video with the dune buggies going across the desert, and then I got deployed into a desert and there was no dune buggies, but it was a good sales pitch.
All right. Well, 1 out of 2 isn't bad, I guess.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Well, let me ask you this. What was your rank when you got out? You were a
E5 sergeant.
You were a sergeant. Okay. How much of the leadership components from the Army did you bring back with you into the civilian world? What was that like being developed as a leader in one organization, and how did it help you in other organizations?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, I tell everybody that in the Army changed my life, just the way of thinking and the way I act and SOP, standing operating procedures, and how we do things. And so when I got out, I was just working for a company. I was in a general management role, and so I had 2 to 10 people underneath me. And so we were definitely guiding and leading. And I was using those strategies of, lead from the front and to always, train the trainer kind of a thing.
Yep.
And I think more importantly, once I started my own business, that's where it excelled. And that's where I put all my military experience into that. And whether, we've August 1st will be a year since we've been in business, and we just hired our 10th employee. And so rapid growth, and to be able to delegate and hire those people and to train that, wouldn't be possible without my military experience. There's just no way.
Well, and just that focus on always being a leader is huge. I don't know if you found this out, but when I got out of the Marine Corps, I discovered that wasn't the concept in the business sector. The majority of time, it was lead only when you have to.
Yeah.
And I know for me, it was always keep leadership at the forefront. And I mean, when we first started talking, I forget how many people you had on your team, but you've grown substantially.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the main things that I guess I've taken away, from the military. And I don't have to do everything nowadays. I can sit back and just kind of lead my team. I have a great operations manager and a director, and my shipping department and everything that's underneath me. And now I've been able to kind of sit back and just lead and delegate, but more importantly, focus on what I need to and just grow the business and the knowledge that I have and let them operate my business in a capacity that's the reason I hired them for.
That's right. And delegation in the military was just such a natural thing. We expected it to happen.
Yeah. And
especially when we were E4s and E5s.
We were those guys getting it done. So, yeah.
So you spent a lot of time building up other companies too, prior to having your own. Can you tell us a little bit about, you were instrumental in creating phenomenal growth at other companies. But before we get too far into Valens Protective Coatings and what you've done there in the last year, can you tell us a little bit of the backstory? How did you get to that point?
Yeah. So even just military in general, I was getting off of active duty in 2005 or late 2005, 2006. And I had reached out to a family member back here in Minnesota and kind of asked if he had known anybody that might be hiring and everything. So I got hooked up with a gentleman who was an entrepreneur to the core. He was he'd had a business and was starting another business in the floor coating world, so the decorative concrete industry. And he basically said, "Hey, I don't have a job for you now, but I'm going to keep your resume." So I found another job. 2 months later, he called me and said, "Hey, I'm going to start this company. I want you to kind of lead the company."
Wow.
And that was 2006, February of 2006. And we started off in the decorative concrete application, so garage floor coatings and stuff. And I started off as an installer, installing these garage floor coatings and kind of getting in and out and leading a team of 2 or 3 guys and kind of doing a floor. Well, very quickly, we learned that we could get into distribution and manufacturing. So from 2006 to 2009, basically kind of when I was going on my deployment, we had switched our entire company from an installation company to a distribution and manufacturing company and growing from $0 to $10 million, just pretty much in 3 to 4 years, to the point where then I deployed, came back. He had helped develop another little bit of a product when I was gone. And then when I came back, we took that into more of the retail setting. So he's got products that we helped develop, some products that were in like near Menards and Home Depot and the do-it-yourself style market. And then he ended up selling that company to a very large company called Rust-Oleum. So we developed a lot of products, a lot of brand, a lot of awareness that's still currently out there. And then after that, I had stepped back and started another company. I'd done another installation floor coating company and kind of ran that. And then I was helping another friend of mine possibly get into other floor coating distribution and manufacturing. And that kind of started to take off a little more. So I kind of gave up my own installation company to go help his company. So I went to go be his lead technical guy and general manager. And we grew that company from 2012 to when I just left last year to an 8-figure, very healthy company. It's still going and still being phenomenal, by the way. It just wasn't the right fit. I just needed something different. And I just took all those experiences. So yeah, I got a lot of experience with growing.
Well, you wore a lot of hats.
I did. We were small companies, and I've thrived off of that. And I think that's why I've done so well just in my own businesses. I like working for a small company or a startup and taking that to the next level.
So when did the idea pop in your head about having your own business? Had you had it for a long time, or how did that get in there?
Yeah, I've always kind of had the entrepreneur mindset. I've always just kind of said, "Hey, I need to start my own company." But I just never had the guts to do it. I never really, I was growing great things. We were doing phenomenal things at this company, and some things that happened to change, and I just wasn't my fit there anymore. And so I went to go work for another guy. Honestly, starting my own company wasn't my idea at all. It honestly kind of just fell on my lap, where I kind of just had the customer base and the knowledge and some vendors and stuff, where people would kind of reach out to me, "Hey, you got to do this, you got to do this," and I didn't plan on it at all. And so that was like June, July of last year, so just a year ago. And my wife and I basically said, "Well, it's customers are kind of like coming to us, already. So hey, if we just do a little bit here, a little bit there, we'll just get part-time jobs." And when we started in August, again, it hasn't been a year. We just moved into our 4th warehouse because we've already outgrown the first 3. So
Number 4.
Wow.
Now, Pete, you're also one of the fastest growing businesses in Minnesota in the last 12 months, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's gone even further than that. So when we talked the first time, months and months ago, we were on track to be one of the fastest growing, and we've actually tripled sales even since then. And so that the chart has just kind of gone straight up. So I don't know exactly
that's a good chart to have.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll take it.
So when you started the business, and everybody, I think at some point gets bit by the entrepreneurial bug. Everybody thinks about it, at least. To have the growth that you're having right now, did you anticipate that coming, or has this been beyond your expectations?
Way beyond my expectations. Absolutely. I've been floored with the amount of response and growth. And, my business model is a little bit different than some, where I focus more on growth of certain companies. And my background is helping companies grow and say, they're growing their company. And my specialty is teaching them the techniques and the know-how of how to double their sales and business and stuff like that. And so by doing that, if you grow your business, that grows my business. And so
Yeah.
we've taken a little bit different approach to that. But it's been well beyond my expectations. It's been scary as hell. It's been fun as can be, but
Yeah.
it's
It's a
definitely,
it's a good scary.
it is. It is. And I always say, if you don't feel a little bit of uncomfortable, you're going behind. You should always feel a little bit of uncomfortableness in growing and the pains that kind of come with that. So
So I'm guessing you're prepared to be even more uncomfortable for the rest of this year
yeah, you
and
have to
beyond.
be. Yeah, absolutely. So like, I kind of joined some business coaching development stuff here in the last couple months, and they've really helped me kind of think not about tomorrow or next month. What's your 5-year, what's your 10-year goal, or even if it is just 1 year, what is that growth going to look like? Because strategically, you got to put your people in place now so you can get to that year goal and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and that's the reason I'm here today, is because we strategically put our people in the right places.
How important is it for entrepreneurs or owners to seek out guidance, help, coaching?
100%. And I noticed this a couple months ago, and I'm glad we're talking today versus when we did talk a couple months ago,
Yeah.
because one of the things we talk about, like I talk about, is like the funnel, like where's the pinch point in your business to growth? And honestly, it was me. I ended up being that pinch point in my business for growth. And it really took an outside source of Craig, our operations manager, and Melissa, my wife, to kind of point that out. Like I might
Yeah.
be very good at one or two specific things, but I don't know how to operate an entire multi-million-dollar
Right.
business. And until I reached out to other people, and that funnel opened up, and then it's been awesome ever since.
Well, I always say the championship players have coaches. And so many business leaders kind of fight the coaching side at first, right? Almost like it's a sign of weakness, but I consider it a sign of strength to get that outside input on how we could become greater.
Absolutely. And there's people that are doing so much bigger, better, greater things than I have, and they've got so
Yeah.
much more knowledge. So why would we not want to tap into those knowledge and those resources, and then utilize those into our own business?
I know your team is important to you. How has your team reacted to so much growth?
Good, very positive. Scared too. They're kind of right on that edge of scared, but more importantly, I think they've been so instrumental of, who's next, right? So like my brain's going 100 miles an hour, and so if I say, hey, we're thinking about doing this and doing that, and then Craig, our operations guy's like, okay, who do we got to bring on for that, and doing all that, and so we've got like, our warehouse is now set up. More importantly, efficiency. So we're trying to make
Yeah.
sure everything's efficient as possible. So we set the warehouse up in a certain way so our shipping guys are minimizing everything. So even when the growth has been exponential, the work on most of my guys has been pretty streamlined because it's been the same process the entire time.
Yeah. How important is it? You're a new company, even though you're successful, you still haven't even had your 1-year anniversary yet.
Right.
Not even a toddler yet. One of the things that we learned in the military was identity. We knew what had to be done, but we were always at the forefront of our thoughts was who we are. I mean, even in the Army, be all you can be. Everybody knows that saying, right?
Yeah.
Or the Marines, once a Marine, always a Marine. They know who they are. They have their mottos, they have their creeds, they have their taglines and core values. How important has it been at Valens Protective Coatings to have identity?
Oh, it's huge, and kind of hard to see behind me, but those are my core values on the wall. So,
and you
and those are
graffitied them up there.
I graffitied them up there. Yes, we paid a local graffiti guy. So if anybody wants some local graffiti guy, I got those. So those are my core values. So it's integrity, honesty, innovation, and passion. And it's probably really hard to see at the bottom, but I got a military kind of a scene and everything. And I got some other stuff that kind of mean a lot of stuff to me. The Valence logo behind me is graffitied, and I got some more stuff on this other wall over here. And that's just what we live by. And I'm kind of sitting in my training center. So when I train new guys and all these customers that we're training in, that's the first thing they see when they walk in the wall or, in my training center. So
Yeah.
this is what we live by. So I tell everybody within my company and every customer that I'm training, those are my core values. And it's exactly what I built my business around. So self-identity is those 4 things with branding all together.
But you remember walking into the recruiter's office, there was identity everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't graffitied.
Yeah,
But
right. Exactly.
but that's
So
all right though. But I remember walking into my recruiter's office, it was Semper Fi, it was USMC, it was Honor, Courage, Commitment. It was everywhere.
yeah,
The whole office was oozing with identity. And I think that's missing in a lot of businesses today.
yeah, yeah.
And here
And
you are. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was saying like, I live it. And that's why I spend the money to have something creative put on the wall that I can look at every day and be proud of. And have every one of my customers come in and look at that, my logo. And I got some more on this other wall to live it. Our emails are, that's in their tagline, or that's in my signature of my emails. It's on my training manuals and everything that we come with. When I first start teaching a class, that's the identity, and that's what you're going to get from me. Like one of our taglines is innovation through chemistry. And so when we have developed these new products we're coming out with, it's being innovative. In my world, you have to be as innovative, stay on top of your game,
Yeah.
change your chemistry. Well, because the chemistry changes. And so that's our tagline, is innovation through chemistry. And you follow up the innovation with the integrity and the honesty and the passion that I have for this business. There's no reason you can't take it. And like my other work over there is To the Moon. It's a big picture of a moon man over there. So
I love it that, when you're recruiting people or hiring new people, they're going to come in and see your identity. New clients, prospects, they're going to see your identity. That's powerful.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And even behind the camera, we got some stuff on the wall, and I got this other stuff over there too. And it's all branding. It's not just the name of my company. It's taglines and it's
Because you can
PR.
feel it. You can feel the passion behind all that.
Absolutely.
I mean, here I am. I want to come in for a tour now.
Yeah, come on over. Everybody's welcome anytime. We'll got to show you around. And
I mean, it's interesting. Your name says a lot. Valence Protective Coatings. We kind of know what you do, but your identity is who you are and you live it. I love that.
yeah, absolutely. So, and I think that's important to put out there to everybody. I mean, we're not just in the business I'm not in the business just to push material out the door and never talk
Right.
to you again. I'm in the business to grow your business. And I've grown a lot of multi-million-dollar businesses for other people and started that up. And so now that's a passion of mine that I just love to do. And so when you become a part of Valence, you become a part of this company and this culture, you're getting all of that right with it. And you're going to know that from the minute you walk through that door.
Oh, that's huge. I mean, you're creating an environment that people want to be a part of. And I know that's important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is on the employee side of things too. So employee retention and employees' attitude and everything like that, and having somebody wanting to show up every day, and it goes well beyond paying them well. But if we have the attitude and the mindset that everything's positive and moving in the right direction, and they can see it just on our walls, you can't get away from it.
No. And when we served, you could feel the energy in people every day they showed up. And not that it was high every day, right? I mean, there were good days and there were challenging days, but you could tap into identity, especially on a challenging day.
Yeah, absolutely. And you identify with it, and that's how you grow. And everybody's got their own personality, but your identity, you could be identified as a Marine or a soldier, whatever that is. But there's a lot more that goes underneath that umbrella.
That's right. That's right. They don't just hand those titles out.
Yeah, exactly. It's earned, never given.
So exactly, earn, never given. I love those three words. It's so powerful, and it removes the whole entitlement mindset.
Yeah.
So you've had some amazing growth during a pandemic. What was it like having a business launch during a worldwide pandemic? I mean, it had to add. Now you've had success, which helps with some of the fears, but what was it like starting it up, making that decision when a worldwide pandemic is in full effect?
Yeah, incredibly scary. One thing that we did kind of have the confidence in, and as bad as COVID and everything is pushed a lot of stuff down, the home improvement industry has kind of gone up, of course. We had a lot more prices and stuff, and people are spending a lot more money on their homes. So I had seen the vision of, the market in my world go up. But it was incredibly scary. My wife had been laid off. She worked for a very large international airline company. And I mean, they went from like 400 employees down to 3 employees. And so she got laid off, didn't have a job. And then I came home every single day. I wasn't happy. I was taking it out on the wife and kids. And that mindset was negative. And she basically just told me, we're in or we're out. And I had another job offer. And I said, I needed something type of change.
Yeah.
And I took that. And that was very negative also. I didn't like that. I was only there for a month. And I had these customers kind of call me, it was like, okay, I know we have something here. And again, at the time, it was just going to be something just to kind of provide income and just kind of,
Yeah. Some
hey, if we can live
supplemental
a
income.
comfortable life, hey, if we just
Yeah.
live comfortable, we're fine. And within the first 2 months, we realized, yeah, this is way bigger than we expected. And that's where 1, 2, 3, 4 warehouses
Wow.
is compounded. So incredibly scary. But I'd say I'm very fortunate with my past, my experience, my name, my presence within this industry is pretty good. I have a very good
Yeah.
reputation. And so I had a lot of people believing and trusting me. So my jump wasn't probably as scary as some of the other ones, people that are probably.
Yeah. Well, just the courage to do it during a pandemic, because you don't know where things are going to go.
I still don't. And
Yeah. We're in the transition phase. We're transitioning out of a pandemic, and not everybody has any answers. I mean, it's
right.
like there's a shortage of answers out there.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I know for you, Pete, one of your favorite sayings is "I got you."
yeah.
And why that? Why those 3 words for you?
Yeah. So I tell it to everybody that, because one of my main jobs is technical support. So when somebody calls me with an issue on a floor or something like that, one of my big things is I got you. And that's just going to basically tell them that there's nothing that's going to come to them or be negative to them that I can't help them or fix them. And another thing on that is I teach a sales class to help growth in companies. And I tell everybody, like, I got you. Whatever you need, I got the resources and knowledge to take them there.
I like that.
And, I'm not throwing money at them or anything like that. I'm just providing them with the resource, whether it's something happened on their floor or teach them how to increase sales, increase lead generation, stuff like that. My big thing is I can take on their fear, their question, because it's something I've dealt with in the last 15 years. And so
Yeah.
I got you just means that I can definitely help you out.
I think they have, when you say it, you say it with full confidence, with full certainty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm
And I've
assuming
seen
that people hear it with that too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yep. And I convey that, and there's it's confidence over cocky, and it's nothing about that. And I have the track record to prove it. And it's where I can just tell them that no matter what you are coming across in whether it's again, the daily floor or the business in a year, 2 to 5 years, I've seen it in some capacity, or I can point somebody in the right direction to do that. And to be able to have that answer immediately for somebody could be a game changer, and it
It's
could save
huge.
them tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the course of business.
Well, and I think a lot of it, when you say "I got you," it's in your delivery, that confidence. You don't say, "Well, I'm pretty sure I got you."
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you lead with that. You lead with that because, and then same thing, because that right there tells you no matter what that they know that they're talking to the right person.
but for your confidence to be at that level, I'm assuming you have complete faith in your team
You
and
have
your
to.
systems, right? Like
Yeah,
you can't state something that big, "I got you," and not have the resources to back it up.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, and that's just comes with through being in the industry for 15 years and having the connections that I do. And again, it's not everything that I can do. I can point them into 20 different people, and we try to build up a network where if I don't know the answer, somebody else within my network, one of my customers does. And so we had a guy in Las Vegas had a question that I couldn't answer, but my guy in Arkansas, I knew he would have the answer. So I said, Danny, hey, can you call Nathan in Las Vegas and talk to him about this floor that I just don't have a lot of? Absolutely, he can. And so, like, my customers are talking to my other customers, and
Yeah.
we're building that network that it's not just 100% about me.
That's right.
But I put the team around me that every answer can be answered.
Right. You can't possibly have every answer, but you can possibly get every answer.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah,
I did the same
exactly.
thing in the media world. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, there were so many technical variables. There was no way I was going to know everything. But when I told clients like MTV, HBO, or South Park, "I got this. I got you." I like that. I'm going to borrow that. "I got you." They knew I was going to come through no matter what I had to do. And I think having that level of integrity is huge, and it's lacking a lot these days.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the customers, my customers believe in me to that point. So they know if I'm saying that, whether it's that immediate answer, if I have to get back to them tomorrow, whatever it is, they know they're going to get a follow-up. They know they're getting back to me, and I'm going to have the answer that's going to give them in the best possible direction. It's
Yeah.
not just, I think it's going to be 2 + 2 is 4. I know the answer, and I'm providing them the best thing that's going to get them through their problem.
Well, part of it is just having this mindset. And I would say that, you've got this very focused mindset. How important has the mindset been when launching a business, to be able to tap into that?
Yeah, and I think it's going to change. I think my mindset from when I first started a year ago and from where it is today, it's been a 180. I mean, it's completely changed. Again, because when we first started, my mindset was, hey, I'm going to take care of a couple guys, let's make some money, I'm just going to
Yeah.
kind of live. Didn't think about employees. I wasn't planning on moving out of my other first warehouse. And then today, my mindset is, where are we going in 5 years? Like, this is gonna be $1 billion company. Like, I mean, my mindset's
Yeah.
completely changed. And when's my next employee coming on, or what's my next avenue, or my next entrepreneurship adventure, and what other products can we do? What kind of chemistry can we look at? And I think that's going to come with time, and success breeds more success. And my mindset has completely changed based on that coaching and everything that we've talked
Yeah.
about. Getting
And you
outside of my own
become
head.
you become more visionary, it sounds.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. You see the larger picture. At first, I
Yeah.
was just kind of in blinders. I was just like, hey, this is what's going to happen. And now I'm seeing a true full company come in, and we're
Yeah.
providing, payroll and 10 lives. And then we have customers that we're providing for as well. So it's completely changed. And looking outside of my own head and using those coaching and picking off some of my other employees, backgrounds and mindset,
Yep.
your mindset's going to change. And if you have to evolve and adapt to grow.
So that brings up a couple words, well, maybe three words. And you and I seem to have a lot of words in common that we heard in the military, like earn, never given.
Yeah.
But there's also the saying, improvise, adapt, and overcome. And I know in the Marine Corps, anytime there was a challenging situation, of course there was embrace the suck. So they would throw that out there too. If something sucked, hey, Marine, just embrace the suck. But another three words was always improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah.
And I found that, even though I may have heard those in uniform for the last time in 1991, I still use them today though. And what do those three words mean to you, especially, starting a business, having a business grow the way it is? And there's challenges with a business, but also having team members and everything that you have in your world. How important are those three words to keep in mind? Improvise, adapt, overcome.
I think it's critical. I mean, I really do believe that those three words can be the foundation of pretty much anything, because if you're not overcoming any obstacle, you're never going to grow and never going to be able to move on. But if we break it down from the beginning, like for me recently, the pandemic was unique. We saw raw material prices and shortages, just as everybody else did.
Sure.
And so just the first improvise, right? So, I mean, we had to figure out where our pricing strategy is going to be at, where our discount levels, or could be at, or anything like that. And more importantly, what do we have to do to find other products in the meantime? So if we have to adapt and find other vendors, manufacturers, whatever that is, to try to still be able to give the quality product. Because at the end of the day, we're a high level, high dollar value product. And I don't supplement that with just crap. And so I got to be able to find my other markets and my other manufacturers and stuff to be able to kind of give me the product, the pricing, so then I can kind of, pass that along. And so we've been doing a lot of that over the last 3 or 4 months, and trying to adapt and trying to figure out where the market is going, and products, this new chemistry that we're trying to take in, getting the raw materials for all that. And by doing that, just being able to adapt, you automatically overcome everything else.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing that, then we're gonna be stuck in the rut. And I see that a lot in my industry, where guys are just saying, hey, this is my one product and this is just what works. And for us, we've diversified so much so quickly that, I mean, I feel like we're overcoming daily, dang near, really.
And I think that last word, overcome, improvise, adapt, we've got some work to do. Overcome means we win. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's the one that always kept it in mind for me, is even having Think Great. We launched Think Great many years ago, but going through the pandemic, we saw, presentations just get postponed while things shut down. And, we had to improvise and adapt. We went virtual. We started offering all these courses virtually, and it was crazy. And when I say improvise and adapt, I'm really talking about my team. They did a brilliant job with it. Sapphire and Jacob just knocked it out of the park on the technology side. But at the end of the day, we still had to overcome, or we would still be stuck back there. And a lot of it for us was just, we started to set new goals during these new times. And I know for you, goal setting it's important. And so what kind of role has goal setting played for someone who has a new business that's exceeding expectations, but how important is that process of setting and accomplishing goals for you
Uh,
personally?
yeah, I think it's been huge. And like, again, the way my mindset has been setting a goal and setting a goal 9 months ago that I broke in a month later, I was like, oh, okay, now I got a different set of goals.
Yeah,
And so I have a vision board in my office that's right above my computer. So same thing, I'm looking at it and I'm adding to it and changing it. And I continually set goals. And just the other day, I was talking to my team and I kind of threw out a goal that scared the hell out of them. But I said, great, if he doesn't scare the hell out of you, then we're just going to be continually just sitting in this rut, not a rut, but we're going to continue to throw out a pattern. But if the projection's like this, let's keep going. And
that's
so
right.
I'm starting to set goals now that at a point seems unrealistic.
Yeah,
But 6 months ago, I set a goal that seemed unrealistic and I hit it.
yeah,
And so I set new goals with personal goals for myself, whether it's gym, fitness, life, that business goals. We do that. We have a company meeting and I lay out everything. There's nothing I hide in my company to everybody knows the financials, where we're at, and just so everybody knows where we're going. And so when I lay out these goals of growth, they can see where it's been and where
yeah.
it's going and stuff that's actually realistic.
Well, I like that you were angling your arm up because our strategic program is called, for strategic planning, it's called Elevate. And we look at every business as an aircraft and it's designed to take off.
Sure.
So it's not uncommon when clients go through this program, they start doing that move right there.
Yeah,
But that's better than doing this move where your business is going down, right?
100%. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I think, goal setting is a great way of unifying the team too, getting them involved in the goals, even if you scare the hell out of them at first, right?
Yeah,
But then they do come around and they start supporting them. Is that what you've discovered too?
absolutely. They start to see my vision. And so like Craig and Isaiah, some of our guys who've been around for 3, 6 months, they've seen the growth. And I didn't have to convince them of anything. They
Right.
saw it. And more importantly, they believed in me and the vision and what we're doing to jump on board and to take that leap for a startup company. And we're not even a year old. We're under that toddler stage. And
Yeah.
it is very scary. But to be able to without convincing, I
Right.
proved them with evidence and proof of this was my goal and I crushed it. This is my next goal and we're almost there. Well, now my next goal is going to be way up here, but we're on the track to be able to do that. And again, while we're very transparent with our company and everything we do, because it's not a convincing of anything. It's a proof and concept.
Well, and every time you set a goal, it's exciting. Every time you accomplish it, it's a confidence builder.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what goals do you have ahead for your company now? What's in the next 6, 12, maybe 18 months, 2 years? Since you're crushing goals,
Yeah,
I love that. Maybe we got it. Maybe we do have a name for the show already, but
there you go.
yeah, crushing goals. What's in store for you guys? Let's say in the next 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. And one of those things that I had talked to the guys about just a little bit ago, or I guess about a month ago, was goal. Like we just moved into this new warehouse. We got a 5-year lease. We're 3 months into this 5-year lease. And I already told them, I said, we're going to be too big. We're going to grow out of this building within a year. And, they're like, whoa. And I'm like, it's a goal. So my goal is to already be out of this. We're in about 10,000 square feet warehouse now. Um, and once we kind of get ramping up and get everything in place, I mean, we absolutely will be out of this place well beyond the 5 years. And so growth in numbers, more importantly, my vision and my goal, what I teach my team is, again, taking the core group of customers and growing them strategically to make
Yeah.
sure that they are providing for their life in the best way possible. So I'm not looking for vast numbers. I don't need 5,000 customers. I need a core group of customers that I can double their business, triple their business. So everybody within my organization and my customer network has a good, comfortable life, providing with new products. Another goal is 2 new products by the end of the year. We have 2 chemists on staff that are working with chemistry, and to do that, which one product we were very, very close to launching, and then we kind of got some hiccups. The freeze in Texas kind of hit us a little bit. And so I have goals of 3 new products and 2 are almost there. So we got to work on 1 more before the end of the year. and different products that nobody else is doing, and this chemistry that nobody else is thinking about. And then it's changing the mindset of the industry to make sure that they're not just stuck in that old school way. We're changing them on to different chemistry. And that's
Yeah.
why we innovation for chemistry, because it works better for a certain situation. Um, so very, very hard to kind of limit where I'm thinking there and going, but you can kind of see where it's a shotgun blast and but big things.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say something that I'm just going to guess it's true. You have a lot of passion.
I love what I do.
You are oozing passion. What is it like for you when you deliver for a client? You get that good review or that positive feedback. 'Cause I know what it does for me when they say you made an impact, but some of the feedback that you're getting from your clients, what is that like when you hear such amazing news about what you provide?
Oh, I mean, that's like, so so like celebrate the small wins and then move on, so like we celebrated, like Evan just got I wished one of my customers a happy birthday today, and he's like, thank you, I appreciate everything you do for us. Boom, just that little bit right there.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool, what can I do for the next guy? And I find myself a lot of times going down the list of my text or my contacts, and then texting them, what can I do to help, and what can I do for that? So when I receive just a little bit of gratitude from one, I wanted to figure out a way to turn that into the next guy, or like, how can I do that? And we just did a very large job, my largest job to date, down in New Orleans just a couple months ago. And that one guy has taken his business to a completely different level and started doing, instead of like small residential jobs, he's doing 20, 30, 50,000 square foot commercial projects just because of that.
Wow.
And it wasn't only because of me, obviously, but he's changed his completely mindset because I gave him the products and the knowledge, and I went down and helped him with that. And so it's little things like that. And when I see people that are in my world, it's like called adding a trailer. So if one guy's got one trailer of business and you go to two trailers of business, that's growth. And so when I see guys that are growing from one to two, or starting from zero, groundbreaking into one and being successful, that's where my
Yeah.
gratification, I guess, comes from.
Yeah. There's really nothing like it for me and I often say, aside from the numbers, we really gauge our success on how many unsolicited testimonials we get, where somebody just sends one in, and you end up reading it to your team and you're like, wow, we really delivered on this one,
Yep.
where you can exceed expectations.
Yeah. And we do again, we do a little bit different. We have a what we call an ambassador program too, where, kind of very similar, like First Form and stuff. So like our customers are kind of selling and working for me, because
That's right.
they're going up. My current customer trusts me, and if they contact person C who trusts them, and so they have a
That's
relationship.
right.
So we're working our network from within.
Well, what's interesting about that word is we have Think Great ambassadors. So we're speaking the same language,
There you go.
where we have some clients that they do more than refer. They're ambassadors, and they go out and share your message
Yeah.
and really convey the impact that you can make. And those are some of the best relationships ever, when your business can build an ambassador.
Yeah.
Those ambassadorships are huge. And I agree with you, because I've never been, I mean, I've written a sales book, actually written two, enhanced it to where it is now. I have sales programs, but I like the buying opportunity more than I do selling. I like when somebody buys, I don't want to have to sell. So ambassadors are great at just saying how awesome you are without you having to say it.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't come across as good.
Right. And I'm not a sales guy. I don't want to be a sales guy, nor do I want to hire a lot of salespeople. I want ambassadors who go out and just speak the message and those guys are trusting in me to build their business, build their brand, and
That's right.
live. And so everybody underneath them that they talk to are seeing them do it, who's seeing me do it. And it's the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Now, how did you come up with the name for your company? What led to that?
Yeah. So valence, the word valence basically is a derivative of the word covalent. And so when you take two products, like a product or like a part A and a part B, and you mix the two together, you have a covalent bond. And so for us, every one of our products is a part A and a part B that comes together and then bonds and cures. And so the act of a covalent part A and B coming together is the act of a valence. And so basically the word valence protective coatings is two things coming together to create one. And then protective coatings, we offer more. We're diversifying into a couple other different lines of products just beyond concrete. So
But I like that you have meaning behind the name.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's a great meaning too. I love it.
Yeah, it's just not just a name or anything. I mean, it really does, and it means well within the chemistry world, and it, again, kind of goes back to passion and everything. And my wife found it and figured it out, and our logo, everything we had designed. I mean, it's everything that's beautiful.
Oh, I have a feeling that some people are going to reach out to me. I got to get the number of the person who does the graffiti on your walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a
Yeah, he's
feeling
local.
we may see a lot more graffiti, good graffiti. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's the same thing, and I just knew I wanted some stuff on the walls, vinyl and stuff like that was good. And I don't know, it kind of hit me one day. I said, and another one of our sales reps down in Texas, she's like, "Oh, you should have some high school kids come and graffiti your paint or thing." And I was a great idea. So long story, we found this gentleman who's very well known, actually in the Minneapolis area, through some conversations and stuff. I basically kind of told him what I want, and again, kind of hard to see. It's got the military, it's got the skyline of Minneapolis, it's got mountains for when I was, I mean, just he took my vision to the next level, and man, couldn't pay me enough to. It's incredible. Like, I'm taking that wall with me. I don't know how, but I'm figuring it out.
Yeah. You may outgrow that location, but that wall's coming with you.
Exactly.
Well, listen, anything can happen, right? You can have walls taken. I've seen them transport whole homes on a flatbed truck, so they can take that wall for you. It's going. You may have to pay for it, but it's going.
It's worth it.
Well, let me ask you this. You mentioned something even when we were talking earlier about training the trainer. And that concept, that idea has freed you up a lot. How important is it for business leaders to start learning how to train the trainers, and even just starting internally in their own organizations?
Yeah. And that's what I did. So what I did with Craig and Melissa and Isaiah, I trained them in everything that I knew, logistics and, buckets. Cause again, for us, we have a part A and a part B, and then we have different colors and speeds, and there's some logistics coming with that. And if you don't have a part A and a part B to come in together, of course, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
And so to be able to train them in the capacity that I can step back and not have to worry about that, I train them with everything. And I spend hours and hours and hours with each one of them, and to share all the knowledge I have. And it's not just put it on the bucket, wrap it up, and off you go.
Right.
Very strategic operating procedures and how each pallet looks, and packing lists and buckets. And so I've trained them and given them any type of knowledge that I have. And I'm teaching Craig right now on my technical side of knowledge. So when I teach class, if I have to be gone for a day or anything like that, then he can just fill in and it'd be flawless. And so what that does is it frees me or anybody above that trainer to do whatever they need to do to continually grow their business. And if I don't have to worry about the logistics and filling out a bill of lading for any of that, because I've already trained them how to do it, my focus is in my office and what I got to do next to grow the business. And what am I doing with the chemist to make sure that product is going to production? So if you're not training the trainer and you're trying to handle it all, you will be that bottleneck within your company.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. In my leadership book, I talk about in any business, it doesn't matter what we do. There's only 3 actions. There's outs, ins, and ons. And outs are negative. So if somebody's late or somebody's gossiping or negativity or redundancy in workflow, that's an out. It needs to go out.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the person, just the behavior. And that leaves us, if we get rid of our outs, that leaves us with ins and ons. Ins are important. Like you said, maybe checking email or, putting this order through. Those are ins. They keep the aircraft moving forward. But you often hear leaders, especially in the C-suite, they'll get frustrated because they get stuck in the business and they want to work on it. And so what I'm hearing is training the trainers allows the leaders to work on the business, which actually helps to elevate, right? Because you need to be on at least 90% of the time, not stuck in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's getting back to mindset and stuff that I've learned over the last 3 or 4 months, and being told that I was the physical bottleneck of my company, and it wasn't negative. It was, this is what it's going to take to grow. So step back, let me handle it.
Yeah.
And then I saw that growth. And so then I stepped back in and was able to train on the things, but knowing that I was completely going to be stepping out of it.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the right mindset for that, because there's some leaders that it's my way or the highway, or here's how it's going to be done. And, you can actually kill off delegation. You can actually kill off people taking initiative if you don't delegate to them right.
And then
So
that's where I was.
yeah, you were doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, I was. Yeah, that's when I knew that I was the bottleneck, because I was like, well, if I'm this guy in the industry and I can do this and nobody else can do this, well, that was great for a small percentage of my business, but it wasn't great for the large scale vision
That's
of my
right.
business. And
There's too many leaders that hold themselves back and hold their teams back.
100%, I totally agree.
You can even hear it in delegation too, Pete. When you hear people say things like, well, if I want it done right, I'll do it myself. It's like, well, why did you hire that person in the first place?
Yeah, yeah,
And it contradicts a lot of things that leaders say. They'll always say, when I ask them the question, I go, do you hire people better than you? They always say yes. And then they can't get that person to do the work as good as them. I'm like, all right, either you failed, or you've got to rethink the way you're delegating. So
yeah.
I love that phrase, train the trainers, and you can't do everything. You can get everything done, but you can't do it by yourself.
Absolutely. That's the reason we build a team around us. Like, you said, with
That's
your
right.
team is doing stuff, and the growth, and everybody's got to be able to adapt and improvise, adapt and overcome. And, we got to hire A players, A team
That's right.
players. And you don't have to micromanage. Once you train them, then they're going to just growth. And the way that the business operates today is different than the way it did 6 months ago, because he's implemented his own processes, and I've sat
That's
back and
correct.
allowed it to happen. And it's grown because of their knowledge.
I think just too many business leaders hold on to things.
Yep.
They're too afraid to let it go, or they like it too much to let it go.
Yeah.
And
I was afraid. Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I remember being in the Marine Corps. When I was in, the commandant of the Marine Corps was General Al Gray. I don't recall him ever stepping in and doing my job for me. In fact, I never met him.
Right, exactly.
I do have a picture of him in my bar downstairs, but
Okay.
I never met him. But it's interesting, in the military, it just makes sense that things are delegated out. And in the business sector, I find there's just this off balance effect where either leaders don't delegate out enough of the tasks, or they delegate out too much, right? They just dump everything off their plates.
Right. Yep.
I mean, I've even heard leaders, they've even killed delegation when they go, I got to get this crap off my plate. And then I'm thinking, well, nobody's going to want that task. You know what I mean? Like, you're not selling it, brother.
Exactly.
And
Well,
delegation, it's huge. It's an art form.
Absolutely.
Delegation's an art form. I know that you mentioned at one time, when you encounter challenges, it's important to put everything into perspective. Where does that come from? Because that's a deep thought. That goes way beyond the challenge that you're facing. So what led you to come up with that mantra for handling challenges? Put everything in perspective.
Yeah, and I think it kind of probably just, it gets kind of goes a little off subject, a little deep, but it's kind of how I was raised. And when I mean that, it's probably the lack of how I was raised.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of family structure. I didn't have a lot of family just in general. My father passed away when I was 15. My mom passed away when I was 30. Been pretty much living on my own since I was 15, kind of a very structured childhood from 15 on, and trying to figure that out with jobs and overcoming everything, overcoming an obstacle and figuring what that is. And so I kind of learned from a very early age, outside of business, personal life, and even before the military, that you don't have a choice but to work. You find your job, that's your meal, that you got to figure out how to pay your bill, you pay your car. And I just learned that just by unfortunate general life practices.
Yeah.
And then the military, of course, just took that to a whole different level.
Yeah,
but you incorporate that into business. But
yeah,
my core values, I guess, and everything that I do is because of the way I was not raised. And and bad as that is, and it's not a pity thing. No poor me, never poor me. And I think that's, you can tell a lot from a person when they say, oh, this happened to me. Okay, well, that's a different person that says, I overcame this.
that's right.
There's two totally different mindsets. And so
Yeah.
when you overcome certain things based on the challenges you've had, there's no pity me, but I don't have a problem talking about how I overcame it.
That's right. I think too, especially for people who have served, you've been in an environment where lives are at stake. I was an air traffic controller in the Marine Corps. So every day, even at 18 or 19 years old, you're talking to aircraft, which seems crazy that they
Yeah.
have 18 or 19-year-olds in the control tower, but okay. Um, but you had to have a different perspective on things because you really had people's lives in your hands.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, I was in, during the Gulf War time period. So you saw a nation go to war. You experienced all of the branches ramp up for this operation. And I remember getting out working in the civilian sector, being in film school, then working in the film industry. And there would be an issue on set. There'd be an issue at the post-production facility. And I remember people saying to me, how come you never get stressed out over anything? And I'm thinking, and I told them, I go, well, give me something that to get me stressed out. You haven't given it to me yet. This is a little
Yeah.
issue. We can solve this. You got to keep
Right.
things in perspective, right? I mean, I'm not going in the gas chamber. I'm not rappelling. I'm not having a drill instructor choke me out. The fact that there's one tape missing, we can fix that. I tend to save the stress for the big stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's important. I have to ask you this question. You're a very articulate speaker. You're very passionate, and you're accomplishing so many different levels of success and rapid success at that. And you've got your team as a priority. Is there any plans in your future to write a book? Have you thought about writing a book about what you've done?
Uh, I'm gonna say maybe 5%. I have thought about it. Um, yes and no. So, if I look at my life, what I've done so far, it's in the history of my life. Would it make a good book? I think so. It's a good, unique story and stuff like that. What I do like to do and what I do find enjoyable is being able to tell my story and like stuff like this. And
Yeah.
this is just 2 or 3% of what's going on. And I have given public speeches. I used to with my old company talk in front of 200-300 people. So
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of cameras and being on stage and talking. And that's kind of why I feel really comfortable with that. And so I've thought about some avenue along those lines with maybe not a book, but like an in-person, again, without COVID, and
Yeah.
an in-person kind of a thing. I don't know what that looks like, but I do find a lot of enjoyment being able to talk in front of people.
Well, we may have to have you out to some of our events and have you on stage.
I'd love to. Like I said, and my thing is, how can I help? And that's,
Yeah.
so like whatever that is, and if that's just 5 minutes of to say, hey, this is who I am, or in 2 hours of motivation, I can do it.
I think you could do anything you set your mind to on the stage. And the reason I was asking that is, I think that passion is contagious. And I'm going to guarantee there's people listening right now that are inspired to take some steps to better their life, or maybe better their company, or better their team, or even their
Yeah.
family, based on the things that you're saying. And
Yeah.
and if there was somebody listening right now that was just thinking, I want to step into that entrepreneurial role, maybe own my own business at some point, or just create a better lifestyle or better success. Do you have any key lessons that you would give to somebody just starting out as they're striving for greatness?
Yeah. I guess my biggest thing is just do it. Just jump off the cliff. Like right behind the camera is a board, and it says entrepreneur, someone who jumps off a cliff and builds a plane on the way down. It's got to be that fast. And of course, business doesn't just take off that fast, but that mindset of just going for it and having the passion or the mindset of, like, for me, I'm so afraid to fail that I just won't let it happen. And at
That's
first
right.
it becomes a little consuming and it kind of wraps you up. But once you get those teams and those people in place, you can let those other things happen, that delegation. So my mindset, and what I would tell anybody or thinking about doing it, is find something you're passionate about, figure out the logistics behind that. Whether that's going to be a lot of money investment or something that's an investor, and
Yep.
just figure out what that looks like and just do it. And find, if you have that goal in mind that you can't fail and you're passionate about it, you won't fail. And every day, even if you got 1% better today than you were yesterday, you won. So again, you've heard it before from a lot of other guys, win the day. We're winning small steps every single
Yeah.
day. And that's just kind of how that staircase is just going to continually be built. So my advice is just do it, no matter what, how fearful it is. You'll make it work if you want it to make it work.
And I think that goes for just so many aspects in life too. It's like maybe there's a small little goal that seems overwhelming to us, or maybe it's starting a business. It could be anything. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've actually inspired me today, Pete. I've got some things on the list that I need to just do it. And now I got to go back to my team and say, look, here's what Pete said. Pete said I should just do it.
Absolutely. And same thing. Like, I was coaching my guys last night, and so we teach a 6-week camp, and last night was week 5, next week's week 6. We talk about growth and doing it, and I'm probably going to tell them certain things that they don't want to hear
Yeah,
because growth takes money. And so when I'm going to say, hey, if you want to get to that next level, you might have to drop X amount of dollars,
that's right.
but you have to do it. And my guys are starting to understand that that's what it's going to take to grow, and it's just the truth behind it. But more importantly, it's I got you.
I got you. And that's the thing about coaches. They're different than beer drinking buddies, right?
Yeah.
You having a beer with somebody, they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
But well, maybe some things you shouldn't hear, but a coach is going to tell you what you need to hear. And as a business coach, I've often started conversations off with my clients with, you may fire me for saying this, but I have to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've also shared lofty goals. They've shared this vision, and I know how to get them there, but I have to say a few things first. I got to break down the status quo and turn it into status grow.
Yeah.
And I think like that, I love what you're doing. I really liked the elevation thing too, and building your plane on the way down. It all ties in with aviation. But
there you go, right up your
Pete, there's no doubt in my mind that people are going to be inspired. There's probably some people listening right now that would like to follow in your footsteps from an entrepreneurial standpoint. There may be people listening right now that's saying, I'm hearing that this guy is going to be hiring. I want to work for him. But if people want to reach out and find out more, connect with you or Valence and just find out more information, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so there's 3 good ways. We're on Facebook and Instagram underneath Valence Protective Coatings. So send us a message that way. Go check us out. The website is currently, as of July 6th, currently under construction, but you can always leave a message that way. Or I don't know if it's possible for you to put a link in the description with my email address and phone number and stuff like that. I have no problem with everybody contacting me. Anybody who wants to shoot me an email or just have a talk. I love communicating to anybody. And that's the same thing that we do. We just kind of share ideas. Doesn't have to be within my flooring industry or entrepreneurship or fitness, whatever it might be. I need that motivation as well.
So are you saying if they email you, you got them?
I got them.
That's what I love. Hey, well, I am sure that you're going to hear from some people, and we will be sure to add your email address into the podcast, so they'll be able to reach out to you. But Pete, I just wanted to say thanks so much for being on the show. It was worth the wait for me.
Yeah.
Just to hear about all the extra growth. We had a lot to talk about the first time.
Absolutely.
But it worked out even better for this time. So thank you so much for helping me to make an impact with everybody at the Think Great Experience today.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. And thank you again. And like I said, if there's anything, any listeners or you or anything that I can help with in any way, please let me know, reach out. And I look forward to keep going.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Pete.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks, Eric.